Welcome to Mindfully Thrive. This is the Vision Holder Hangouts session. And this is a really special episode because today I'm joined by my first ever guest in this new series, Missy from Missy Energy Healing. So welcome.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
It's wonderful because I first came across your work in the expanded podcast on the To Be Magnetic process episode with Jessica that you did back in January. And ever since then, I've been so looking forward to trying to have a conversation with you. I love how you explain energy and energy healing. It seems to be something that makes a lot of sense to me when you talk about it. And from looking at your work, I'm hearing all about the transformations that you're doing with people. It just feels so exciting to talk a little bit more about it. So if you could give a little bit of background around your work.
Yeah, so I'm an energy healer and an intuitive channel. So my gifts are, I'm clairvoyant. So basically, I can see the exact beliefs and trapped emotions that are trapped in your energy body. So we have our physical body and then our energy body all around us. So we can find the exact pieces that are keeping you stuck. So I ask a question of your body. So say you're working on feeling confident to make a career change or something, but you're feeling stuck and you're not sure why. It's because we have these very specific beliefs that we either picked up in childhood or maybe we inherited from our ancestors, could possibly even be from a past life. But those beliefs and their emotions are stuck somewhere in the body and they're actually repelling what we want. Or another way we could say it, it's like those beliefs are just trying to keep us safe, right? And so when I work in a session with somebody, I'll see those beliefs, and then also your inner child will come in, or maybe an ancestor will come in, or spirit guides. So we always have in a session a whole bunch of spirits or people in the session with us helping with that healing.
Wow. That sounds just so adventurous and the unexpected and the unknown all at once. And on the other side of that, the client, the person you're working with, gets a sense of relief. How do they feel after those sessions with you? Are they instant? Do they take some time?
Yeah, so my work is on the energetic level, so you could literally be sleeping and I could do all the work on you, but really our thinking mind wants to get on board and it wants to understand. So in a session, I'll find the pieces and I'll always invite you to talk about it. So it's not therapy, but it might be something like, okay, Ella, when you were 5, we found the emotion of grief. Did something happen around that age that created grief, or maybe a fear of being seen, whatever it is, and you might remember something going on or something that happened, and then we'll kind of talk about it and see how that's keeping you stuck today, because that piece is there for me to see so that we can move it out. And so after a session, people actually either feel two things. They either feel like so relieved, like, oh my gosh, I feel so much lighter. I understand myself better. It makes so much sense. I just feel so much better. Or three things. Or they feel really sleepy. They're like, oh, Missy, I really need to go take a nap. So they're really tired because energetically they're doing a lot of work. Even though it didn't seem like they were doing a lot of work, energetically they are. Or the third thing is maybe about 20% of the people feel more emotional because we've deliberately brought these emotions up and these beliefs up to the surface. And sometimes they're, heavy things. And so our body needs to kind of feel them and take them out. So I always say what's coming up is going out. So you might feel these things, but it's only for maybe 24 hours. It's just the process of integrating and releasing.
Wow. And so, can we have a little bit of a backstory? I mean, your story is so beautiful, because what resonates for me and the audience, I feel, is that you had a prior career, a previous career, and now this new career. And so in this series, I'm really looking and being uplifted by people who are living their authenticity. And that journey to become authentic might have been a struggle in yourself to get there. So do you have a before and an after?
Yes, definitely. And I think my biggest core wound is fear of being seen. So it's something I'm constantly working through. So I feel like I hid most of my life because I had these certain intuitive gifts when I was young. I could see ghosts and things, and I really had messaging around how that was scary, maybe, and kind of like, oh, you shouldn't do that. So I hid that part of myself. Then I'm Chinese American, so I grew up in a mostly all white neighborhood. So I kind of really tried to fit in. So my whole life was about, ooh, how can I fit in? And I was able to sort of read other people's expectations and how I could fit in. Um, and then I worked in television. So my dream was to tell stories and work in Hollywood. So I went to film school and I actually really loved it. But I ended up working in the camera department, which is all basically was white males when I started. And I was like one of the only females. And also I was small. So I'm like a lot smaller than these like big guys that could carry the cameras and stuff. So I really felt I had to hide my femininity, my sensitivity. I had to really try to be like a guy, and fit in. So a lot of
Yeah.
hiding. But yeah, and I think like a lot of people do that. Like we hide who we really are, just to fit in.
Did,
So yeah, go ahead.
no, I was just going to ask, did you feel like for most of that career it was comfortable and it was okay? Was it a
Yeah.
niggle, the intuitive work and the energy work? How were you working day to day and living that version? And how loud did your soul or your intuition or your calling need to become for you to make that change?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I ended up working in television and sitcoms, and I loved it actually because I love being part of a group because I'm really a group person. So it really, like, I love connection. So that really, it fed that part of myself. But I was, for probably years, I had this nagging feeling like I'm supposed to help people. And I feel like I'm really not. So that felt like an absence in my life. And I was always somebody who loved like helping people. So that was very authentic to who I was, but I wasn't doing that. And then also on top of that, I was bored. Like I could definitely see I was kind of bored in my career. And even though it was fun, it was kind of easy and it was like, kind of boring. I think when we are out of alignment, we might feel bored. We might feel stuck. We might feel overly tired. We might feel just like a hole, like something's missing. I know I'm meant for more. But at the same time, I had two little kids, so I was a mom and that took up a lot of energy. And I think I was meant to be focusing on being a mom and doing my career. I think it's not a surprise that basically my last child was in high school when I started transitioning into this work because suddenly I had this space to do it. So for all the moms out there, right? Being a mom,
Me,
that's a real, real,
you're
takes a
talking to
lot.
me. This is why I needed you on the show, because I just felt this need to connect with an expander, because I'm in
Oh,
teaching. My kids are now in high school. I've been there for 20 years. And the
yeah.
word boredom resonates so deeply. And it is a
Yes,
calling, it is an inner knowing that there is something else calling me.
absolutely. And I think like all moms also need to have compassion for ourselves because it's a really important job, but it's not the only thing that defines us. And so what happened to me is I actually had a, I was in Spain and I tore my
wow.
calf muscle.
Wow.
And that was like on day 2 of a 10-day thing. So I really was on crutches that entire trip. But what ended up happening is when I came back, because I didn't take care of it right away,
Yeah.
I actually couldn't work. So I was basically, they put me on disability and bed rest for like, I forget, like 1 or 2 months. It was like a long time. And that forced me. So that's the universe going, hello, you're not listening to the knock knocks about boredom. So I'm going to make you stop working. And that, all I was laying there like, what should I do? And I really dove into, I didn't land on healer for sure, but I really dove into, is it time to make a change? What that might that look like? What do I love? So I just focused on that. And that's when I reconnected to my meditation practice, which I had had before I had kids. But I'm going to be honest, I became a mom. That whole
Yeah.
meditation thing dropped right off the map. But I
Yeah.
remembered that it helped.
So that was going to be one of my questions, was like, how has stillness created a pivotal moment or a change? So was it in those meditations that you heard
Yeah.
or felt something needed to change?
Yes, and I think that's really important is that it doesn't have to be meditation like we have to sit in a certain way or meditate a certain way, but I think the process is about being quiet in our bodies so that we can feel something, so we have space for information to drop in because we're all connected to the universe. We're all intuitive. It, I've honed my skill. It's what I do every day, but all of us, everybody listening has intuitive gifts, but we need to have the space to actually listen to them. So I really recommitted to my meditation practice twice a day. So morning and night, I made sure that I had quiet time. And then I just kept asking the universe, show me who I am. Like, just show me. And it did take 4 months. But in four
4 months.
months,
Wow.
yeah, but I was committed.
But this is
And
because then I want to ask, the commitment of knowing the answer's going to come must have been the thing that kept you committed to asking the same question. Because I can sit in practice, but to continue, I would have moved on to another question or tried another way, giving up the idea that that was going to give me an answer, I think.
I think that's a great question. So always ask me that. I think because I had proof, so that trust muscle, because in my 20s, I had a spiritual awakening and I was very committed to my meditation practice and I started seeing people and, meaning dead people.
Okay.
I started, a lot of
Yeah.
things started happening and I manifested a lot in my 20s. So I kind of had a sense that this was the way to go because I had seen it work before. So, and I really have a deep trust in the universe that there is a power greater than me. And I think that faith kept me going. Plus, I just really wanted to know.
Yeah. Yeah. So prior to that, though, you had some kind of, well, you, like when you were younger, you did, like you said at the beginning, hear things. So did you feel like you were gonna be connected with those two? So, well, being told that you were going to be a healer, was that a surprise? Or did it feel like maybe your intuitive gifts were going to be the way forward?
I did not think, no way, because my conditioning was definitely not spiritual. It wasn't part of my background. So that was a complete shock. So I did, hear on the 4th month, you are a healer. And that really, well, did 2 things. One, my mind wasn't ready. So honestly, I was like, no way. Oh gosh, what? I don't even know what a healer is. But on another level, I could feel in my body it was true. Like I could feel the truth of that statement. So I trusted it, sort of. I mean, I just tried to take the next thing. And actually, for me, and this is how it works for everybody out there, literally, my next step was, oh my God, find me a podcast. Like, literally, it was like,
So you were
is
going
there
to
a
speak?
podcast about it? Pardon?
You
No,
wanted
no.
to listen? I thought you
Yes.
were going to
Like,
sell yourself
no.
straight away. Wow, I'm really
No,
confident.
no. Oh gosh, no. No, I didn't even know what a healer was. Like I didn't know what
Okay.
energy was. I didn't know anything. I didn't have any idea. So I was like, okay, maybe I can find a podcast to listen to that will tell me what an energy healer is. And that's what I mean, that our action steps can be so small. And it was just like a
Okay.
download, like, well, just start following the thread. So I didn't think, oh, I'm going to be an energy healer right away. I just kept taking the next right step.
So there was my question then. The next idea I kind of had was, how do you then develop that self-trust in within the time frame that you have and around the work that you're already doing? Develop that, not only the trust muscle, but be willing to commit to the work enough to build on it to be able to create the business. Or maybe you didn't even think that far ahead, or to do the work and help others.
I did, well, one, I was really excited by the idea. Like there was something in me like, wait, I could use these gifts that I thought were weird. Okay, that was kind of thrilling. And then two, the fact that I could help people. And I was really interested in it. So in the beginning, I learned not thinking I'm going to make a career out of it, but I was like so fascinated. Like, how does this work? How does it? So I just kept taking classes because I was interested, not because I wanted to do it for a living. But then as things kept going, I realized, wait, I think I'm good at this. But in the beginning, I didn't charge, that's the whole thing. It's okay, right? My level of self-worth was kind of like zero-ish when I first started. So I did sessions for free, but I needed that to practice so I could learn how to work with clients, the process for getting a transformation, how to connect to my guides. And really, I only did it for a month, but just one thing led to another. And I just said to myself, oh, on June 26th, I'm going to start charging. And literally on June 26th, I got my first paying client. So
Seriously, wow.
kept opening. Yeah.
Because I'm at that, well, this last month I've just been doing some work, mentoring, mindful mentoring, not charging, but just to hone my skills outside of what I do at school. I've been a mindfulness instructor for 7 years, but it's just the changing the goalposts, changing the way I'm doing it and how I'm working with others in my own program. So the energetic shift that you made to show the universe that you were ready was just taking step by step and showing up every day. Would you say that that's
Yeah.
like
Yeah. And we can kind of think about it like a relationship. If we are starting a new relationship, part of it is learning to trust each other, to get to know each other, to continually show up in good faith.
Yeah.
So me showing up for my practice, me showing up meditating really was a signal to create that relationship with the universe that yes, I'm serious. I'm a good partner. We're going to do this together. Give me more, tell me more. And really my prayer every day was and still is, just show me where I'm needed and give me the words and help me be a channel to help people. And I think when we focus more on how we can help people and less on ourselves, it's actually easier.
Yeah. And so saying that, do you think did you then work with an energy healer yourself to do any of the unblocking that you may have need, or did you need to do some unblocking at that time to get into the mode of confidence and I've got this, and tell me about
Yeah,
that
so
journey.
all the work that I do, I've tested on myself. And I will say all coaches and
Mm,
healers and therapists, we need other coaches, healers, and therapists. So I make sure that like it's important for me to have my own self-care, but also that I get outside help because I can't always see my own blind spots. I do work on myself, do my own energy work on myself for sure. But, I get stuck or I have regular, appointments with other healers. So, yes, I had to do a lot of work on myself. For me personally, it was around fear of being seen. So, honestly, my biggest block wasn't so much can I do it, am I good at it? It's more, so it wasn't imposter syndrome, which a lot of people do have imposter syndrome. Mine was people are going to judge me, think I'm weird, like think I've lost my mind to be an energy healer. So it was more about judgment for
mm.
me.
Did you need to go into your close network at the beginning? Was it a case of searching out people within your friends and family network, and that felt vulnerable at the beginning? Or how did you just start, especially if you're coming from a place of, I don't know how this is going to be taken?
Yeah,
How
no,
does
it's a
that?
good point. So I I actually did some unblocking work on myself and to leave my job. So I had a career and I built my business at the same time. I didn't just quit the career and then go. So I had
Mm-hmm.
both at the same time. But what was keeping me stuck was one is how am I going to get health insurance? Okay, that was one of my issues. But when I also went deeper, I realized that television work is really collaborative and it's I belong to a group and I love that. I love being part of a team. And I my deepest fear when I looked in there, why I didn't want to leave was I thought I'm not going to have any more friends. I'm not going to belong anywhere if I'm by
Yeah.
myself in a business. But honestly, it couldn't be further from the truth because now I have an amazing community of my own clients. Like, I mean, people like you. I'm talking to different audiences. I have other healer friends. I have my cup runneth over with people who I love because, right, when we're our authentic energy, when I'm being who I am, I attract the right or the aligned people. But you're asking about support. I ended up taking a number of intuitive healing courses, which is in the beginning it wasn't for me to learn how to heal people. It was how do I heal myself, right? How does this
Yeah.
work? How do I work on myself? And in that very first class, which was all over Zoom, I met these amazing women, and to this day we go on trips together, we travel. We
Wow.
hadn't even met each other in person until probably 2 years into the program, but now they're like my closest friends in a way. And I mean, they're amazing, and we all do some version of this work. So I feel, and then I have a partner that I do a lot of programs with, and we're co-hosting a retreat to Bali next week, and
Wow.
she's somebody I've never met in person, but we've done many, many group collaborations. So yeah, it's fun. I feel very
I just,
supported.
I love how one of the biggest blocks you had when you were trying to clarify this move over, change over to the next um, transformation in your life was the first thing that almost got eliminated out of it being a worry or a concern at all, because on the first session you already
Yeah.
felt like you belonged. So it's so obvious,
Yeah.
these stories that we make up in our heads of how it's going to roll out. There's just no truth to so many of them, like to any of them really. So
Yes.
we just need to keep knocking those bricks down to just be able to take
Yes.
the next step.
Yes. And
So
and
did you have
remember that it's
sorry.
our young. Oh no, I was just gonna say, remember, it's our young selves who are holding us back. So this was like a little version. It was little Missy who was afraid she wasn't gonna belong anywhere, that she wasn't
Mm,
gonna fit in the group. So
mm.
really looking at those beliefs that your young self, those little wounds, and working through the inner child work is really important.
That's where your work comes in now, and also the To Be Magnetic work has been able to help me through that also. And did
Yes.
you have expanders in the field? Did you have people that you looked up to or wanted to be like, or were there people that you resonated with in the new lifestyle that you would even possibly be having?
Yeah, well, my teacher in intuitive healing, so almost all of my teachers have different certifications of different teachers. Almost every teacher was an expander because they were so good at what they did. So I love that. And then as far as like more like a business, because I'm a healer, but I'm an entrepreneur really because I have my own business. Um, Catherine Zinkina, Manifestation Babe, was a expander because I saw her as this young woman who was creating this business and doing what she loved. And then I ended up being on her podcast, and I teach a master class in her program also. So then that's even more
Wow.
expansive when I got to,
Yeah.
yeah, talk with her and things. So she was an expander. And then just along the way, Lacey is for sure an expander
Yeah.
now. Oh my gosh, probably my biggest expander right now.
And having been able to connect with them in that way as you did on the process, it's just another manifestation back at you, sort of go girl, keep going, you're
Yeah.
on the right path, this is just all falling into place. So how many years have you been working on in your business?
Let's see, 2025, 6 years about.
Wow. Okay, so you're 6 years in, and how do you continue to look for expansion and growth while still honoring where you're at in the present moment?
Yeah,
Do you
that's
work with
really
a business
interesting.
partner or coach in that
No,
side? No.
I did work with, so there was a point when I almost stopped doing it because, well, it was a good problem to have, but I was on the Manifestation Bay podcast, and after that, I got really booked up. But I was only the way I'd set up my business wasn't really sustainable, so I was booked out months in advance, and I couldn't. I felt like I was burning out. So
Mm,
I worked with a business coach who helped me really kind of like repackage it so that I had more ease in my business, which is what I wanted. And since that point, so I worked with her for a couple months. And since that point, I felt more comfortable. So I learned amazing things from her, but I also realized I need to listen to my own intuition and do it my way.
yeah.
So I've created, I think, which is really important to learn basics from people for sure. I don't have a business background. I really needed her and she helped me a lot. But then at a certain point, I needed to come back to myself and see how I want to present myself, how I want to have my days set up, what I want to do, and how I want to create transformations. So I
Mm,
redone my business recently to create more ease and freedom. So as I change, I notice my manifestation list changes. So it's not so much about things. It's about I want more freedom. I want more
yeah.
ease. I want more spaciousness in my day. So it's more energetics than specific things that I want.
That was going to be follow. So, yeah, what does it mean to thrive for you? I think you've already kind of answered that question that I had. How does
Yeah.
thriving look to you now? I suppose quite different to 6 years ago.
Yeah, thriving to me means actually freedom. So I can hop on a plane and go. I love travel, so I travel a lot. So being able to help people while traveling the world is what I love. The freedom to set my schedule, to do Pilates and yoga and have lunch with a friend, or just create that spaciousness in my life. To me, take care of my body and my time. That means thriving to me.
Yeah. And what are the ways that you can do energy healing? So if anyone is really interested in your work, what kind of ways can they connect?
Yeah, so the best way is to go to my website, which is missyenergyhealing.com. So that's easy. But I work with people, a couple people, one-on-one. There's in 3, 6, or 12-month containers. But mostly I work with people in groups. So I have a new group called Soul Magic that's going to focus on clearing the blocks, your specific blocks that's blocking you from your manifestation. So as a group, we're going to go through and clear everybody's blocks together. And that's probably going to start in April or May. It's a 6-month program. I have a group going through it right now, and they're making amazing transformations. And then I also do one-off things. So I work with people, do distance healing in a belief code session. You can sign up for that. And also I work in small groups. You can just jump into a 1-hour group. It's capped at 6 people. So that's like a great way to start. Like, do I like her work? Does it make sense to me? Is it fun, right? I also like to have fun, right? It's serious business, but we can laugh too.
Yeah. I love that idea. So it's like a taster of what you could go deeper into and just experiment a little bit if you totally new to energy healing. It's a nice way to figure it out.
Yes, that's called a soul circle. That's a great place to start.
Oh, I'm going to definitely look into that. And so for any of the listeners that feel like they might have a block or feel like they want to move into a new career or a new direction, would you have some tips or suggestions that they could do like tomorrow to help them move forward?
Yeah, for a couple things. One is I would look first at creating more space for the information or intuition to drop in, because if we're running like crazy and there's no time, we're not going to actually hear the messages, because we're all getting messages, but we're not going to get a message. It could be something we just feel or know. It doesn't have to be you heard a voice, but we're not going to have space for that. So number one thing I would say is create the space for information to come in. And that means mindfulness, so for all the work that you do, but also saying no. So kind of clearing stuff out. Where can I say no? Where am I taking up my energy and my time? Maybe you're not ready to quit your job yet. That's fine. But maybe there's a relationship that's kind of one-sided and it's not really fueling you and it's taking from you. Or maybe you're volunteering in your kid's classroom and you really actually don't like doing that. You'd rather do something else, right? So where can we start saying no to create the space to actually get intuitive information to gain clarity? I think that's one thing. And then really waiting for information to come in and just trusting, like, oh, that doesn't really make sense, but that's what I feel like I got this kind of idea to do. Why don't I just call that person or go to that place? So start taking action, because action also helps move energy.
Yeah. And so when you say intuition, it might not sound like a voice. It could feel something, or is it how would people know if what they're being called to, or what does the intuition how could intuition look to somebody?
Yeah. So we all have different intuitive gifts. There are clairs, and there's actually 8 of them. And so I'm clairvoyant, so I mostly see, but in that particular case, I heard a voice. That's clairaudience. So it doesn't necessarily that you have to know what it is that you have, but you want to watch for how it feels in the body, because intuition, sometimes we get confused about intuition versus fear. So I'll give you an example. If I was sitting on an airplane and I heard, oh my God, get off the airplane. And I was just like, get off the airplane. It's going to crash. Oh no. Okay, one, that's a frantic voice. It's very insistent. It's fear based. It's loud and it's anxious. And it's kind of talking a lot. That is not your intuition. That's actually fear. But if I heard a very quiet voice speaking in maybe 2 words, like get off the plane, okay, that's 3 words, I would probably listen to that. Me personally, I would, because I would tune in. Okay, wait, that felt different. Also, because our intuition's neutral. So when I heard you're a healer, it didn't say it like it was excited or that's weird and it was just very neutral. So we're looking for neutrality. We're looking for a feeling in the body like, I don't know, I just know that thing is true. Or it feels, it has a different quality. Yeah.
And thank you for that. And if there was just one piece of wisdom for those who feel really pulled to do something, but are also feeling very afraid, what would that be?
Well, I would look at the underlying energetic. So in the same, so maybe you're wanting to change career, or maybe you're wanting to start a coaching business, right? But you're feeling stuck and you want to make the change. I would start journaling all the reasons why you're afraid. You could start there, or you could also think about, if I was a coach, what might happen? Like what bad things might happen? And just kind of write, oh, what does it mean about me? Does it mean I'm stuck up? Does it mean this? Does it mean that? So you keep wanting to kind of journal through to the, keep going, like, and then why, and then why, and then why. So for me, remember I found the belief like I'm not going to belong, I'm not going to have friends. Like I would never have figured that out, but I kept going like, if I leave this job, then what will happen? And then what will happen? And then what will happen? And I kept asking, and then what? And then what? Until I got to the end. Oh, I'm not going to have any friends? Oh, okay, that's the belief. I didn't never would have thought that one, but that's actually what it was. So we can journal through all the way to the very end, and then you'll feel it in your body. Like I could feel, oh, haha, that's the end. That's the belief underneath everything. I could just feel there wasn't more there. And then you could take that. I have a free energy clearing meditation on my website, so you could kind of take that belief through there. Or if you're a TBM member, you could take it through a DI, or you could, I guess, take it through a breathwork session or something like that to kind of just start moving it out. And then you could take that energetic and take an action step that's the opposite. So in my case, I was feeling like I don't belong. I'm not going to have friends. The action step is, how can I belong somewhere else? So maybe it's about joining a book club or a tennis team or something, but how can we beef up the energetic of belonging and having friends, since we know that's our wound? So that's the other action step, is balance that out.
Wow, that's just a wonderful keynote to leave the listeners with. I think it really sums up the best thing they can go ahead and do, and that's go and check out Missy's website, Missy Energy Healing, and download her meditation and see what comes up for them there. And I'll be doing the same. And I just want to give such a big gratitude hug to you, Missy. It's been such a pleasure to have you be in this new version of Mindfully Thrive. These are vision holder hangouts, so people that are like my expanders, people that I think have a lot to offer, and they are living in their authenticity. And it's just such a wonderful thing to see, and really inspiring for everyone who gets to listen. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Ella. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
I'll be sharing all of your where to find yous on the podcast notes, so everyone will be able to go find you on Missy Energy Healing on Instagram and everywhere else. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Missy, thank you so much.